Hello guys, my name is Khan and actually in today's video I will show you guys that how you can merge data sets in Stata. So in today's video I will show you guys that how you can merge one you can do one to many merge in Stata, and before going towards Stata I will explain you in Excel that what does it mean by one to many merge in Stata. So suppose that you have a data set. Suppose you have conducted a survey and you have done a survey at household level. So suppose you have two forms. One form is at the household level, in which you have measured the household ID and in which country that household is located, and in which state that household is located. So that form is actually at household level. So for each household we have one observation. But suppose within that survey we have another form in which we are also within that household we are also asking multiple members of a household about their responses. So suppose we have data set 2 in which suppose for household 1 we have 3 respondents, and we have asked 3 different questions to those 3 respondents. And for household 2 we have 2 respondents, and we asked question number 1, 2 and 3 to 2 respondents, and so on. But you have to note here is that household ID is appearing multiple times in data 2, whereas in data 1 we have household ID appearing once, which is logical because we don't want to measure the same information because household ID location will remain fixed. So now in this case we have for each household ID we may have multiple matches in dataset 2. For example, for household 1, in dataset 1 we have one observation, whereas in dataset 2 we have 3 observations to match. So in that case we will do one to many merge in Stata. So if you do one to many merge in Stata, the end result will look like this. So once I have done one to many merge, my data sets will look like this. But before going to further, I will show you guys that I have highlighted this row, that this ID is the household ID is 5 is missing in this data set, and the household ID 4 data for household ID 4 is missing in data 1. So I have highlighted those observations to see how Stata will react to missing observation. So if we merge the data sets, and as I'm saying it again, I'm doing one to many merge. So for after one to many merge, I will be having for household ID 1, as I am having 3 observation in dataset 2. Therefore I will be having 3 observations after merging, and I will be having the member ID 1, 2 and 3. And after that for household ID 2 I will be having 2 observations 1 and 2, because household ID is 2 in both dataset 1 and 2. But for observation like this household ID 4, we will be having after merging we will be having this data which will be coming from dataset 2, but there will be no data here because dataset is missing for household ID 4 in missing data in data set 1. So when in Stata, when you will be using the merge command, you will first you suppose if you are using uploaded the dataset 1, and after that you are using the merge command to merge data 2 with data 1. So Stata will consider data 1 as a master data and data 2 as a using data. So in this case, when we have observation household ID 4, but we don't have household ID in master data, which is the data 1, then Stata will say that Stata will create a variable underscore merge and will say that data is just only coming from using, which is dataset 2. Whereas in the other example, when we have data or household ID just in dataset 1, the Stata will say that data is only coming from master data. There is no data in using file, and those observations which get matched. So if there is a household ID which is in dataset 2 and also in dataset 1 will be marked as matched. So this is a kind of a short example that what is underscore merge. So what merge command do, especially when we are doing one to many merge in Stata. So now I will take you guys to Stata and will show how you can do one to many merge in Stata. And I will be using the same example dataset 1 and 2. So I have already created a do file for you guys to show you guys that how you have to do one to many merge. Actually, I'm using very small dataset just to give you an overview, because with a small dataset you can easily see what's happening. But if I use a large dataset, it will be instead of doing exactly the same thing, but in terms of viewing it, it will become far difficult. So that's why I'm using small dataset. But Stata will do exactly the same thing if you guys use a big dataset. So for this video, I have created this folder one to many merge, and my datasets are also located in that folder. So I'm creating a working directory, and after working directory, I'm uploading the dataset 1. So I'm control S and control D. So after executing, so I'm uploading dataset 1 first, and after that I am using the merge command. So in this, so that's why dataset 1 will be considered as a master dataset, and data 2 will be considered as a using dataset. So after uploading data 1, I will be using merge command, and after that I'm saying one to many merge, 1 ratio m means many, that for each household you can interpret it like this, that for each household ID in data 1, there could be multiple matches in using data set. So the sequence of 1 to many is very important. So you can't write it as, suppose if I write it down like m to 1. So now Stata will consider that there are many matches in dataset 1 which can be matched to one observation, one household ID of data 2. If I do that, probably I will get an error. So as you can see, the Stata is saying that variable household ID does not uniquely identify observations in the using data. Because if you guys remember, if I go to my Excel, in data 2, there are multiple household IDs. The same household ID appears multiple times. Whereas in this command, I was saying that there are multiple household ID can be matched uniquely to household ID which is in dataset 2, which is not true. So that's why whenever you write this this command, make sure that how you have to write one to many or many to one. I know that in dataset 1, each household ID is appearing once only. That's why I'm writing 1. Whereas I know that in dataset 2, the household ID, a given household ID could appear multiple times. So that's why I am writing it M. And now if I merge my data, probably I will not get any error. Control D. So now as you can see, the Stata is saying that 8 observations get matched. and there are two observations which not match. One is from master data, which is data 1, because I uploaded data 1 as first in Stata, and then he's saying that one observation is which is not matched is from using. So if I browse it, you can see my results here. So the observations get matched. There is one observation which is from using only, and this is from the household ID 5. I can also check it from my Excel. As you can see, the household ID 5 is only from the master file, and Stata is also saying the same, that this observation is only in the master only. Whereas here we have one observation which is from using only. We have member ID, we have question information, but we don't have country and state information. And Stata is saying it's only from using only. And if I check it from my Excel, it's also right that this information is only coming from using only file. So if I close this window, another thing is, I think it's better to tell here that once after merging, especially when you're merging the command, I think it's always good to have some sort of unique identifier in your data. So what is so this is after merging. This window, this dataset which I have shown you guys is the dataset we have after merging. So what is the unique identifier in this file? In this file, the unique identifier is the combination of two variables. Each observation is unique at the level of household ID and member ID. So if I say duplicate report, so duplicate report is a command. So after that, if you write a variable household ID and member ID, and if I enter, you can see that Stata is saying that data is unique. There is no surplus observation. There are 10 observations which are unique. There are only one copy of each 10 observation, and there is no surplus observation. So if you, and I think duplicate report is a very useful command, especially when it comes to merging. So before merging, you can go into dataset. You can see which dataset is unique at which observation, and which dataset is not unique. So suppose in data 1 we are, if I go back to my do file, and if I go back and just execute my code till line number 8, control shift home and then control D, and now if I press if I see duplicate report at household ID, so now you can see that my dataset 1 is unique at household ID. And if I suppose if I upload data 2, so if I go to my folder and if I just directly open my data 2, I can say duplicate report at household ID. So remember, this is dataset 2. So in dataset 2, Stata is telling me that household ID is not unique. So from this you can also get an idea that you have to do in our scenario, which is currently here, that we have to do one to many merge, because dataset 1 is uniquely identified at household ID, but whereas dataset 2 is not unique at household ID. That's why I have to write M here. It's in M multiple times, that household ID can appear multiple times in dataset 2. And now as I said, now what I will do, and again thing important is that whenever you use the merge command in the using file that you are mentioning must be a .dtf file or in a temp file format. I have already, when I was in my video which is about appending dataset, I have in that video I have told you guys that how to create a temp file, but probably in my last video about merging I will do it, create a temp file again to show you guys how you can use temp file while merging. And after that I will go further and and now I will go to see that suppose, and I will tell you guys that suppose if I upload data2 first, how I have to change my merge command. Then suppose that I have uploaded data2 first, so and before doing that I am clearing all the data set in my background, so I don't have anything now, and now I'm uploading data2 first, and this is data2 which have both household ID, member ID. I can browse it. So this is my data2 first, so I uploaded data2 first, and now if I try to merge my data2 with data1, so if I do this, sorry, if I have to change it here, so if I merge it now, the Stata have given me an error, and Stata is saying the variable household ID does not uniquely identify observation in the master data. Actually, the main reason of the error is that I just copied this command, line 20, and just pasted it here, but just changed the dataset 2 from 1. But this is not true. If you guys remember, data2 is not unique at household ID. It have multiple observations, so I have to change it M, whereas there is a household ID appearing once in data1, so I'm changing it to 1. And I'm now, if I execute it and let's see, so now Stata is giving me the same result, but now data2 is considered as a master file and data1 is considered as a using file, and all other observations are same. And now I think I will tell you guys that suppose in Stata you want to see, because this sequence of variables don't seem more rational. So suppose if you want to see country state first before household ID, so what you will do, there is a very good command which you can use to order variable. So if you want to see country and state first, not at the end, you can say that country state household ID, and you can press, and now you can see that country state and household ID appears first, and you can change the order of the variable in Stata, or in order to play with the order command, you can go to help order. So there are so many things you can play with this order command to organize your variables in Stata. So actually the order command just change the sequence of variables the way you are seeing them in browse window or in your variable window. And after that I will, if I tab means tabulate underscore merge, so I have these observations: master only, using only, matched only. Suppose if I want to keep only observation from master only, so suppose from using only and from matched only. So what I will do, I will say keep if underscore merge is equal to, and always make sure that whenever you use a if command, always use double equal sign, equal to 2, or sign is in Stata is this, and or underscore merge is equal to 3. So as you can see, Stata have deleted just one observation, which you can also see from this tabulation that we have only one observation which is other than 2 or 3. I think here is also a good time to tell you guys another command. So suppose if I want to do the same thing, so actually I'm executing my whole code again, Control S and Control D. So suppose I want to do the same thing that I want to, so if I tab the underscore merge again, so suppose if I want to do the same thing that I want to keep observation which from using only and from match only. So one thing is that you use this command that I have already shown you guys. But another important, a very good command is that enlist command. So if I say keep if enlist, after enlist I will say the variable name underscore merge, then I will say 2, the 2 is the value, or 3. So what Stata will do, the Stata will use this command, will say, and will keep only those observations for which underscore merge variable values are 2 or 3. If I press, you can also see that Stata have deleted only one observation. And if I tab merge again, now you can see the Stata have only kept the observation with 2 and 3, which means that there are one observation from using only, and 3 and 8 observation from match files observation. So this is a video about one to many merge, and you can, in the same way you can do many to one merge. There is no much different. It's just based on the sequence of files you upload in Stata. And thank you for watching the video.